All right. Shabbat Shalom. Let me get situated. All right. Okay. I pray you all are having a beautiful Shabbat so far. Oh, sorry. Let's see. It's kind of a weird angle, but it'll work. All right, so we are going to be reading 2nd Esdras 5 today, and I'm going to try to not veer off subject too much because it is Shabbat. Hello. And this is a pretty good, well, they're all pretty good chapters, but this one is really, really awesome. I have a lot of highlighted places in it. So let's start off and let's pray, and then I'm going to hop right into it because, hi Beth, Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to hop right into it because I am going to point out a few things in this, but I don't want to get off too far. So, all right. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Abba, for this day. Thank you that the sun is shining. Thank you for this beautiful day of rest, and for giving us this Sabbath day. I pray, Abba, that, well, first I surrender myself over to you. And I pray that the Ruach HaKodesh would come and just speak through me and let me decrease so that you can increase in this time as I read your word, and we dive and look for the meat that will sustain us this day and give us the nourishment. And I just pray that you would bless this time, that you would bless those watching, that you would give us all eyes to see and ears to hear. And we just glorify your holy name this day. We praise you, we love you, and we thank you. In Yahushua HaMashiach's name we pray. Amen. All right, so like I said, 2nd Esdras chapter 5. And the one thing I will say about this chapter is that it pertains to today and to what is coming. And that was the first thing, the very first time I ever read this book. I'm sorry, the lighting's really bad right there. I can't really pull it over. But yeah, so you're going to pick up on a lot of little nuggets that you'll be able to apply to today, which is really cool, which is, yeah, it's just really awesome. So I'm going to hop right into it. So chapter 5, Signs of the End. Now concerning the signs, lo, the days are coming, when those who inhabit the earth shall be seized with great terror, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Unrighteousness shall be increased beyond what you yourself see, and beyond what you heard of formerly. I'm sorry about the dogs. I apologize. I hope you please can you hear me, Beth? Is it okay? Because I just want to make sure. That's why I have the headphones on today. All right, so I'm going to say that last sentence again. Unrighteousness shall be increased beyond what you yourself see and beyond what you heard of formerly. And in the land that you now see ruling shall be a trackless waste, and people shall see it desolate. But if the Most High grants that you live, you shall see it thrown into confusion after the 3rd period, and the sun shall suddenly begin to shine at night, and the moon during the day, and blood shall drip from wood, and the stone shall utter its voice, and the people shall be troubled, and the stars shall fall. pause. I've had dreams. Oh, thank you. Um, I've had dreams about the moon falling and the stars falling from the sky. And I think I first had dreams of that, like, I don't know, it's been a while, maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago. But it was really like a paralyzing dream because you're looking and you see it falling from the sky and you have no control. It's like you just know that it's done, it's over. And so when I first read that, I was like, wow, that is scary. And one shall reign whom those inhabit the earth do not expect. And the birds shall fly away together, and the Dead Sea shall cast up fish. And one whom many do not know shall make his voice heard by night, and all shall hear his voice. And there shall be chaos also in many places, and fire shall often break out. And the wild animals shall roam beyond their haunts, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. Sounds like the Nephilim. Salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall conquer one another. Then shall reason hide itself, and wisdom shall withdraw into its chamber. And it shall be sought by many, but shall not be found. And unrighteousness and unrestraint shall increase on the earth. One country shall ask its neighbor, has righteousness or anyone who does right passed through you? And it will answer, no. At the time, people shall hope, but not obtain. They shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper. These are the signs that I am permitted to tell you. And if you pray again and weep as you do now, and fast for 7 days, you shall hear yet greater things than these. And then I woke up, and my body shuddered violently, and my soul was so troubled that it fainted. But the angel who had come and talked with me held me, and he strengthened me and set me on my feet. Now, on the second night, Phaltiel, or it's Phaltiel, Phaltiel, a chief of the people, came to me and said, where have you been? And why is your face sad? Or do you not know that Israel has been entrusted to you in the land of their exile? Rise, therefore, and eat some bread, and do not forsake us, like a shepherd who leaves his flock in the power of savage wolves. Then I said to him, go away from me. Do not come near me for 7 days. Then you may come to me. He heard what I said and left me. So I fasted for 7 days, mourning and weeping, as the angel Uriel had commanded me. After 7 days, the thoughts of my heart were very grievous to me again, and my soul recovered the spirit of understanding. And I began once more to speak words in the presence of the Most High. And I said, O sovereign Lord, from every forest of the earth and from all its trees, you have chosen one vine. And from all the lands of the world, you have chosen for yourself one region. And from all the flowers of the world, you have chosen for yourself one lily. And from all the depths of the sea, you have filled for yourself one river. And from all the cities that have been built, you have consecrated Zion for yourself. And from all the birds that have been created, you have named for yourself one dove. And from all the flocks that have been made, you have provided for yourself one sheep, and have gotten for yourself one people. And to this people whom you have loved, you have given the law that is approved by all. And now, O Yahuah, why have you handed the one over to the many, and dishonored the one root beyond the others, and scattered your only one among the many? And those who opposed your promises have trampled on those who believed your covenants. If you really hate your people, they should be punished by your own hands. And when I had spoken these words, the angel who had come to me previous night was sent to me. And he said to me, listen to me, I will instruct you. Pay attention to me, and I will tell you more." Then I said, "Speak, my Lord." And he said to me, "Are you greatly disturbed in mind over Israel? Or do you love him more than his maker does?" And I said, "No, my Lord, but because of my grief I have spoken. For every hour I suffer agonies of heart, while I strive to understand the way of the Most High, and to search out some part of his judgment." And he said to me, "You cannot." And I said, "Why not, my Lord? Why then was I born? Or why did not my mother's womb become my grave, so that I would not see the travail of Jacob and the exhaustion of the people of Israel?" And he said to me, "Count up for me those who have not yet come, and gather for me the scattered raindrops, and make the withered flowers bloom again for me, or open for me the closed chambers, and bring out for me the winds shut up in them, or show me the picture of a voice, and then I will explain to you the travail that you asked to understand." And I said, "O sovereign Yahuah, who is able to know these things except him whose dwelling is not with mortals? As for me, I am without wisdom, and how can I speak concerning these things that you have asked of me?" And he said to me, "Just as you cannot do one of the things that were mentioned, so you cannot discover my judgment, or the goal of the love that I have promised to my people." And I said, "Yet, O Lord, you have charge of those who are alive at the end. But what will those do who lived before me? Or we ourselves, or those who come after us?" And he said to me, "I shall liken my judgment to a circle. Just as for those who are at last there is no slowness, so for those who are first there is no haste." Then I answered and said, "Could you not have created at one time those who have been, and those who are, and those who will be, so that you might show your judgment sooner?" He replied to me and said, "The creation cannot move faster than the Creator, nor can the world hold at one time those who have been created in it." And I said, "How have you said to your servant that you will certainly give life at one time to your creation? If therefore all creatures will live at one time, and the creation will sustain them, it might even now be able to support all of them present at one time." And he said to me, "Ask a woman's womb, and say to it, if you bear 10 children, why one after another? Request it, therefore, to produce 10 all at one time." And I said, "Of course it cannot, but only each in its own time." And he said to me, "Even so, I have given the womb of the earth to those who from time to time are sown in it. For as an infant does not bring forth, a woman who has become old does not bring forth any longer. So I have made the same rule for the world that I created." Whew, that's a lot in that, a whole lot. Then I inquired and said, "Since you have now given me the opportunity, let me speak before you. Is our mother, of whom you have told me, still young, or is she now approaching old age?" He replied to me, "Ask a woman who bears children, and she will tell you. Say to her, why are those whom you have borne recently not like those whom you borne before, but smaller in stature?" And she herself will answer you, "Those born in the strength of youth are different from those born during the time of old age, when the womb is failing. Therefore, you should also consider that you and your contemporaries are smaller in stature than those who were born before you, and those who come after you will be smaller than you. as born of a creation that already is aging and passing the strength of youth. I said, I implore you, O Yahuah, if I have found favor in your sight, show your servant through whom you will visit your creation. And he said to me, at the beginning of the circle of the earth, before the portals of the world were in place, and before the assembled winds blew, and before the rumblings of thunder sounded, and before the flashes of lightning shone, and before the foundations of paradise were laid, and before the beautiful flowers were seen, and before the powers of movements were established, and before the innumerable host of angels were gathered together, and before the heights of the air were lifted up, and before the measures of the firmaments were named, and before the footstool of Zion was established, and before the present years were reckoned, and before the imaginations of those who now sin were estranged, and before those who stored up the treasures of faith were sealed, then I planned these things, and they were made through me alone, and not through another, just as the end shall come through me alone, and not through another. Wow, that is so much in all of that. And I want to go back and break it down, but I want to keep going. Um, oh, whoops. Actually, I went into chapter 6. Okay. So chapter 6, because I was reading and not paying attention, began at the sentence, he said to me at the beginning of the circle of the earth. So I guess I'll go ahead and finish chapter 6. I didn't mean to do that, but I was just caught up in it. So much goodness in there. And it explains a lot. I don't know if you caught on to the point where he was talking about those who were created at the beginning were bigger than in Ezra's time, just as we who came far after Ezra's time are smaller. So the way I look at that is like that silly picture. I'm trying to think of how to explain this. So Adam and Eve, imagine this. Adam and Eve were like 7 feet tall. Or no, let's do this. This will make more sense. Adam and Eve were like 15 feet tall. Just imagine. And then Ezra, he was born like 8 feet tall. And then when Yahusha came, he was 6 feet tall. Do you see what I'm saying? So he's saying that in the beginning, they were bigger, and over time, people got smaller and smaller because there were more and more and more people inhabiting the earth. At least that's what I gleaned from that. It was just a picture because it was so less populated back then that that's the only way that, you know what I'm saying? So like as people the population expanded, people got smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's like there's a lot of supernatural stuff within chapter 5 and 6. Um, like I said, I want to get through the whole book and then break it down into questions and search out everything together. All right, so since I began chapter 6, let's just keep going. And this is titled The Dividing of the Times. And I answered and said, what will be the dividing of times? Or when will be the end of the first age and the beginning of the age that follows? And he said to me, from Abraham to Isaac, because from him were born Jacob and Esau. For Jacob's hand held Esau's heel from the beginning. Now Esau is the end of this age, and Jacob is the beginning of the age that follows. The beginning of a person is the hand, and the end of the person is the heel. Seek for nothing else, Ezra, between the heel and the hand. Ezra, exclamation point. He's like, seek for nothing else. And I really want to know why he was so adamant about that. I answered and said, O sovereign Yahuah, if I have found favor in your sight, show your servant the last of your signs of which you have showed me a part on a previous night. And he answered and said to me, rise to your feet and you will hear a full resounding voice. And if the place where you are standing is greatly shaken while the voice is speaking, do not be terrified, because the word concerns the end, and the foundations of the earth will understand that the speech concerns them. They will tremble and be shaken, for they know that their end must be changed. For they know that their end. Ooh, I never noticed that before. So, the foundations of the earth have understanding. That's wisdom. Wouldn't it be wisdom? And they tremble and be shaken, for they know that their end must be changed. Wonder what that means. When I heard this, I got to my feet and listened, and a voice was speaking, and its sound was like the sound of mighty waters. And it said, "The days are coming when I draw near to visit the inhabitants of the earth, and when I require from the doers of iniquity the penalty of their iniquity, and when the humiliation of Zion is complete, when the seal is placed upon the age that is about to pass away, then I will show these signs. The books shall be opened before the face of the firmament, and all shall see my judgment together. Children a year old shall speak with their voices. Pregnant women shall give birth to premature children at 3 or 4 months, and these shall live, and they will leap about. Sown places shall suddenly appear unsown, and full storehouses shall suddenly be found to be empty. And the trumpet shall sound aloud, and when all hear it, they shall suddenly be terrified. At that time friends shall make war on friends. Like enemies, the earth and those who inhabit it shall be terrified, and the springs of the fountains shall stand still, so that for 3 hours they shall not flow. It shall be that whoever remains after all that I have foretold to you shall be saved, and shall see my salvation and the end of my world. And they shall see those who were taken up, who from their birth have not tasted death, and the heart of the earth. And they shall see those who were taken up, who from their birth have not tasted death, and the heart of the earth's inhabitants shall be changed and converted to a different spirit. For evil shall be blotted out, and deceit shall be quenched. Faithfulness shall flourish, and corruption shall be overcome. And the truth which has been so long without fruit shall be revealed. And while he spoke to me, little by little, the place where I was standing began to rock to and fro. And he said to me, I have come to show you these things this night. If therefore you will pray again and fast again for 7 days, I will again declare to you greater things than these, because your voice has surely been heard by the Most High. For the Mighty One has seen your uprightness, and has also observed the purity that you have maintained from your youth. Therefore he sent me to show you all these things, and to say to you, believe and do not be afraid. Do not be quick to think vain thoughts concerning the former times. Then you will not act hastily in the last times. Now after this I wept again, and I fasted for 7 days in the same way. And before, in order to complete the 3 weeks that had been prescribed for me, then on the 8th night my heart was troubled within me once again, and I began to speak in the presence of the Most High. My spirit was greatly aroused, my soul was in distress. And I said, O Yahuah, You spoke at the beginning of the creation and said on the first day, let the heaven and the earth be made, and your word accomplished the work. Then the Spirit was blowing, and the darkness and silence embraced everything, and the sound of human voices was not yet there. Then you commanded a ray of light to be brought out of your store chambers, so that your works could be seen. Again, on the second day, you created the spirit of the firmament and commanded it to divide and separate the waters, so that one part might move upward and the other part remain beneath. And on the third day, you commanded the waters to be gathered together in a seventh part of the earth. 6 parts you dried up and kept, so that some of them might be planted and cultivated and be of service before you. For your word went forth, and at once the work was done. Immediately fruit came forth in endless abundance, and a varied appeal to the taste, and flowers of imitable color, and odors of inexpressible fragrance. These were made on the third day. And on the fourth day, you commanded the brightness of the sun, the light of the moon, and the arrangement of the stars to come into being. And you commanded them to serve humankind. I wonder if it said mankind before. To serve humankind about to be formed. And on the fifth day, you commanded the seventh part, where the water had been gathered together to bring forth living creatures, birds and fishes. And so it was done. And the dumb and lifeless water produced living creatures, as it was commanded, so that therefore the nations might declare your wondrous works. Then you kept in existence 2 living creatures, the one you called Behemoth, and we know as, that is very interesting. Wow. All right, I'm going to finish this sentence, then I'm going to come back to that. The one you called Behemoth, and the name of the other, Leviathan, whom we know as Hasatan. Now listen, this version, this translation of the word says, the one you called Behemoth, and I looked down, and it says, other, I think Latin or LAT, authorities read it as Enoch. Isn't that interesting? I wonder why they would say Enoch. The name you called Behemoth, Enoch, and the name of the other Leviathan, who is Hasatan. I'm not sure about that. I'm going to have to study that one. And you separated one from the other, for the seventh part, where the water had been gathered together, could not hold them both. And you gave Behemoth one of the parts that had been dried up on the third day to live in it, where there are 1,000 mountains. But to Leviathan you gave the seventh part, the watery part, and you have kept them to be eaten by whom you wish and when you wish. And on the sixth day you commanded the earth to bring forth before you cattle, wild animals, and creeping things. And over these you placed Adam as ruler over all the works that you had made. And from him have all come, the people whom you have chosen. All this I have spoken before you, O great Yahuah, because you have said that it was for us that you created this world. As for other nations that have descended from Adam, you have said that they are nothing, and that they are like spittle, and you have compared their abundance to a drop from a bucket. And now, O Yahuah, These nations, which are reputed to be nothing, demur over us and devour us. But we, your people, whom you have called your firstborn, your only begotten, who are zealous for you and most dear, have been given into their hands. If the world has indeed been created for us, why do we not possess our world as an inheritance? And how long will this be so? And that is the end. Oh, yours says Enoch. That is so interesting. But yeah, that's what they were basically saying, Enoch. I'm going to have to do some studying on that because you kept two spirits. Or wait, did it say spirits? You have kept two living creatures. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. W. Um, oh, actually, the Ethiopian would say two souls. So the soul of Enoch and the soul of Leviathan. Hmm, that is interesting. Yes, each verse is so much prophecy in this. So much prophecy. That is why we're going to have to go back with a fine tooth comb and word for word, which will be really awesome to do because this, I mean, it's very possible these are things, the end stuff that we will see or that, we are going to study, discern, and glean so much wisdom from that we will pass on, one or the other, but it's still worth the study. It's awesome. Um, yeah, so tomorrow we'll pick up in chapter 7. And I'm going to take some notes because I've read this many times, and I feel like every time I reread Second Esdras, I pick up new things. So I want to start a list of things that I really want to search out. I've got highlighted stuff through there, but I picked up a whole lot more stuff just now that I never saw before. And it's so amazing. Ah, his wisdom. He is so good. So good. I mean, it's just, Abba is so. Whew, sometimes I just don't even have words for it. So I pray you have a blessed Shabbat. I'm so thankful the sun is shining on the East Coast in Virginia. Um, and yeah, I will see you tomorrow. So that is it. Mwah. Shabbat Shalom.